being in law school, like I said, for me, it was when I made the decision to go to law school, and actually, I was just going to law school. I guess I did find out about patent law maybe towards the end of my undergrad, so I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do once I finished law school. And obviously, a lot of people, I think they don't know, it's not like you go to law school to get a criminal law degree or to get a bankruptcy law degree or any particular law degree. You just go in there to get a JD, Juris Doctorate degree, and then you're kind of going.
You can kind of specialize from there.
Exactly, exactly. So, and going to law school, like, how did you always wanted to want to do one thing more than the other, or how did you kind of make the decision on what type of law you wanted to practice once you finished law school?
Okay, so for me, I mean, I'll explain. I'm a cannabis regulatory attorney that I do both licensing and general business advice for the regulatory aspects of what I would say is the most highly regulated field in the country right now, more than alcohol, more than tobacco, more than gaming. And then I'm a commercial litigator. So any two businesses suing each other for any reason under the sun, I get called in and say, hey, can you help my business with this lawsuit? So in a way, I thought I wanted to be a litigator, but all of that is off of borderline your stereotypes of what lawyers do, right? With the lack of knowledge, I'm like, oh yeah, I would go to court and you write briefs and you argue and you represent your clients and you pick up the phone and you yell at somebody and you slam the phone and say no deal. All of that was like my idea of like what a lawyer did, and I used that kind of in law school and kind of just found my way with like, okay, this does work for me. Like I got lucky with that. I do think about transactional attorneys and obviously being on the deal side and being able to use your negotiation skills, maybe less in an adversarial way, but like working toward a common goal. I think I would be good at that too. But I, in law school, was doing the Trial Practice Institute. So that's obviously the program that gets you what they say trial ready in law school, right? So you do the whole pre-trial process and then the trial process as part of the two of the 3 years of law school. So for me, it was kind of like all of these pieces that I'm building led to me being a litigator. Once I got into the legal practice, actually, one of my big mentors at the firm was a younger attorney, kind of one of like a loose cannon of the firm, right? And he's like, I'm doing this cannabis stuff. And they're like, what? No way. Half the firm is upset about it. Half the firm is like, well, it's a legitimate field and there will be money to be made.
It was like a taboo thing at that point.
It was very taboo.
It was new. It's like, oh, you're doing. But now it's like in okay.
Robust area, healthy part of a law firm, right? Like, and at that time it was taboo. Like they were like, I don't know, and I'm an associate on the files, and he's like, you want to help me with this stuff? And I'm like, absolutely. Like at that time, you might know, Dave, but I had dreadlocks like down my back. I was like, man, this is perfect. Like I didn't even know this existed in law school. Now Michigan State has a cannabis law class, and I've actually spoken there and done panels with Michigan State Law School when it was not a thing when I was a law student. So like I did go the traditional route of like, hey, I think a litigator is what I want to be because I am that stand up and speak in court kind of guy. I am willing to argue and try to be persuasive and prove my point. But then from there, it was like, once I got into practice, I really found like a niche that I just, found a mentor that kind of extended the olive branch to join him with the matters that he had. And that helped me get an expertise in a field that has been 3 years legalized, and I've been practicing for almost like 5 years in it. You know what I mean? So it's like you can become an expert quickly. But I would say I chose to be a litigator, which obviously taught me the skills of reading laws and statutes and learning where your weak points are and where your strong points are. And then I found a niche once I actually got into the field.
And that's, man, again, a couple of things that I wanted to break down with that is important with finding a niche. That's essentially what patent law is a kind of a niche field of law where you have to have a particular skill set or whatnot. So I think that's important because you're going to make the most money in those niches where everybody, for whatever reason,